Okay, welcome to this. I appreciate you looking it up. You're probably the seventh or eighth person that has looked it up. This is Bob, K5WA, and I put a video out, I guess, 4 or 5 months ago on my first remote attempt, and that was done with an Elecraft K4 as the transceiver, an ACOM 2000A amplifier, and I used remote desktop solution. I think we used TeamViewer at the time, or maybe it was Chrome remote desktop. Anyway, the it was the remote desktop concept, like you've seen a lot of people do it, where all of the software is running at the far end, at the station end, and at the home end where you are, you're basically just looking at a window of that screen. Well, now that's fine, but since my station is out in the country and it's really out in the country, it's hard to get bandwidth. I have an AT&T hotspot out there as my only link to the internet. So I'm given 100 gigs a month on that system. Anything going over that gets ridiculously expensive, but I try to stay below 100 gigs a month. And to do that, I need to get off of a remote desktop solution like Zoom or TeamViewer or Chrome Desktop or VNC. They all burn a lot of bandwidth just to run the video back and forth. So how do you do that? Well, this is phase 2 of that project, where the first thing I did was start with a virtual private network called ZeroTier. That's what I've chosen. There's others that work. I tried 4 or 5 of them. I honestly couldn't get any of them to work. I tried them on my uh, what am I talking about? The little bitty computers, the Pis, the Raspberry Pis. I never could get it running right. But ZeroTier installed. It has a nice window for an administration screen where you log in on their website and you can administer what's going on, who to allow into your network. And I really liked it. It worked the first time, so I'm able to have my home LAN tied to my station LAN, which is 60 miles away. It has some good antennas, and it's nice and quiet out there. I can tie into that as if I'm sitting there. So that's a big advantage, to have a virtual private network that I can type in an IP address here and get to equipment up there. So, okay, so I've got started out with VPN. That's in place. ZeroTier VPN is the first thing I turn on. Then the next thing I do, I go to the power controller. There's a power controller sitting up there that has its little web interface, and you turn on the systems that you want. In my case, I turn on 6 through 8 stay up all the time, because I'm running various Raspberry Pis to do different things, and then the amplifiers and the K4 12-volt supply are all on a switch that I can turn on, and that takes care of the power. When I want to operate, I turn on 1 through 4, or 5 if I want. That just turns on a desk light out there and a couple other little things that really aren't necessary. But that's my power to turn on the station. So then once I get the station turned on and the PC fires up, it takes, by turning on the contest PC button here, it actually, well, let's see, I'll highlight it here, number 4, the contest PC button, that actually turns on the PC, and that's a little Dell computer. It's one of those little tiny Nook-sized computers. A 3090, I think, is what Dell calls this one. But that's my Windows 11 contest PC. After it comes up, well, actually, before it comes up, I can start the VSPE. I have an SO2R controller up at the station, and I'm using the internal WinKeyer for keying that rig with N1MM, which is my preferred software. So to get a channel into that box, I set up a COM port client server. So basically this is TCP/IP over it's COM serial channel over TCP, and you set that up in VSPE so that here at home I can simply have my N1MM software configured to talk to the COM port that associates with this connection here. So that ties me into the box up there, and that's just a very little stream of data that goes back and forth. Then the next thing I do is turn on, I forgot to turn on the rig. There is a separate rig power that I turn on. The K4 and the K3s, as a matter of fact, have a pin in the accessory socket that you have to short for, I think it's 2 seconds or something, to turn on the power, even if there's power applied to the radio. So that's in there. Then I turn on audio. I use DF6CB's remote audio program called REMAUD, and that's how I get audio back and forth from the rig here to my home. And then the other piece of the puzzle, I use his DF6CB's REM CW, remote CW. That allows me to have a paddle here at the house and be able to send on the rig at the station. And that requires a second WinKeyer up there at the station, so I have a Y connector going from both my standalone WinKeyer and then the SO2R box. There's a Y connector that goes into the K4 key in line, and that allows me to do both. Now, unfortunately, both are not aware of each other. If I'm sending with, let's say N1MM function key is sending a CQ, it's not aware that the WinKeyer can also be sent or tapped. So I have to be careful of that, because it sounds awfully funny to have two things sending at the same time in there. But just for grins, let's see if I can make this work. We'll just, okay, I'm just sending some V's, and you can see on the keyer line, when the blocks in the middle, the little dashes in the middle go red, that means CW paddle is being sent up, and it's translated on this screen just so you can see what you're doing. I don't have the monitor turned up right now, so we really can't see what's going on up there. Let's see, I can do that for a second. Okay, I don't know why it's not sending the K5, but anyway, that's there is a delay, just the delay of getting up there and back, and then there's also a delay that I'm not thrilled with in a remote audio, but this is a temporary system that I'm using until I get the Elecraft remote heads. That'll be my ultimate solution, to have a hardware boxes up here and not have to run much of any software at all. Anyway, so that's that screen. Those are the three things that I start up to get their components back and forth from the station. And then I bring up Win for K4 Suite. This is VA2 FSQ's software, and it's fine for now. It does a bunch of things. They're not really that user friendly, but you can get things done. And as an avid contester, I sit and run a lot, so I'm calling CQ, and you don't really need to be tweaking the knobs and the buttons too much in a contest if you're CQing most of the time, or a good bit of the time. So just for having fun here at the house, it's a fine package. That's in the middle of the screen. In the upper right-hand screen, that's my amplifier control. I'll just turn it from operate to standby. You'll see the light goes from green to yellow, And if you actually send some code, which I'll do here, turn off test, we'll just send a little something. You see the power meter going up. See how the red shows you the peak. That's the kind of information you get, and you'll see reflected power here as well. Also, all of your if you have any faults, they show up on here. So it's a nice little package to control an ACOM 2000A amplifier. That's what I use. And let's see, to the left is my N1MM screen. So I'm in here typing away, if a VK4 somebody calls me here, I just type him in, and if I hit the F keys, it sends. We'll turn up the audio just a little bit so you can hear that, but well, does it send? There, I had to highlight the N1MM screen. That just shows that you can send with N1MM. I'm doing it nice and slow, just in case there's any new guys. I normally contest at 35 or so words a minute, but no point in doing that right now when we're trying to just demo this thing. And then as you can, all you N1MM users will notice that there's very little of N1MM being displayed on this presentation, but I just wanted to show that it can operate here, and then in what I'm looking at on the desktop, I have all the pieces that I need of N1MM. And then above that is the control system I built. I used a Automation Direct PLC. Now this is the same one that you saw in the first video. I know all of you have gone to the first video and now so excited to get to the second one. But anyway, this is my screen, and I can select the antennas that I have available on a particular band, and there's a preset, so I can get to the northeast or the northwest easily. It just hit a preset. By the way, in this kill button, sometimes under winds over say 20 miles an hour, I've got too big an antenna. I've got 10 and 15 on the same mast here, and the 10 is a 7 element, the 15 meter is a 5 element on a wide spaced boom that's normally meant for 6 elements, and it's just too much wind load for the tail twister I've got up there. So I have kill. If it just gets hung up, I hit kill and let the wind dry down a little bit. So that's just a flaw in my station. It has nothing to do with remote control. But anyway, that's what this little system is all about, and I can use any combination of antennas. And just to show you how this works, if I switch to 40 meters, the control system switches to 40 meters and then presents the antennas that I have available on 40, and I can choose one or all of those antennas to operate. And the nice thing about this is you'll see up here there's just an IP address, 192.168.2.123. That's how I get to my control system. And well, you can't see that on there, but anyway, it's on my screen. But that's as if it was on the local network, so I can just fire up that little piece of software here, and then I'm as good as gold. I'm sitting at the station for all intents and purposes. And let's see, we also have sideband. I know a lot of people do sideband, and I'm late to the table on that because I don't do sideband as often, and so I haven't done that. But here I'm able to do it with remote aud. You can see the little red microphone on there. Once I turn that on, that opens up a channel from here at my home out to the station and plugs into the K4. Let's see. Hello, K5WA testing. Okay, you saw the amplifier is keying. Okay, I don't want to put too much of this presentation out on 40 meters at the moment, but that's how it works. Anyway, that is my setup. I appreciate you looking at it. again, this is what I've called phase 2, where I'm moving from purely a remote desktop solution to a VPN solution that allows me to run all the software that you see on this presentation screen is running here at home. I don't have to run that same stuff up at the station and then bring it back on a wide bandwidth desktop remote desktop solution. It just saves me a lot of grief from having to watch my bandwidth. You know, in a 48-hour contest, I was blowing through 100 gigabytes of data, running about 2 gigs per hour on a remote desktop solution. So this allows me to get past that and move the smarts of the software to my home, and then just use the VPN to connect out to the station. And I'm really enjoying it. So I can't wait till the next step. The next step will be when Elecraft finally comes out with their software to control the rig, and I can swap that out for the Win4K4 Suite software. That'll help quite a bit because it should control the radio more. There's several things in the radio that I cannot control right now, and that's kind of a hindrance. You can do it with if you wanted to do, oh, I forgot, N6TV has a description of how you can use the programmer's reference to get to everything in the K4 over the same IP that I'm using to connect this software with. So I'd rather do it with a GUI rather than typing in command line references. I'm not really a programmer. I just throw things together and make it look like I am. Anyway, that's all I've got. Be glad to answer any questions. I'm definitely not a YouTube pro. Don't know how to put all the links below here, but I'll look into that and see if I can put this software up. I think I mentioned the publishers of all the software I'm using, so you have that. Anyway, thanks for listening, and talk to you later. K5WA, off and clear.